Coming up now on Animal Outtakes, preserving America's wild horses. We're visiting a place that focuses on the rescue and rehabilitation of untamed horses and burros. See what unique and thoughtful treatment goes into the everyday care of these animals. And a new wave of wonder at the Florida Aquarium. We experienced their latest hands-on exhibit that replicates the cold waters of the Pacific Northwest. Plus, a special volunteer marks a milestone with her final dive at the Florida Aquarium. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. Gaining the trust of a wild horse is a unique process that must be catered to the individual animal. At the Wild Horse Rescue Center, their mission is to rescue, rehabilitate, and find new homes for wild horses and burros. Nationwide, the Bureau of Land Management estimates there are more than 73,000 wild horses and burros on 25.5 million acres of public lands across 10 western states. The Bureau manages, protects, and controls wild horses and burros under the authority of the 1971 Wild Free-Roaming Horses and Burros Act. This law authorizes officials to remove excess wild horses and burros from the range to sustain the health and productivity of the public lands. And that's where places like this safe haven in Webster, Florida come in. Some of the horses they've fostered have come from these auctions, others are owner surrenders, many with a long road to recovery. The dedicated team works to make sure the equine are physically and emotionally ready for adoption. And to do that takes a lot of healing, a lot of nurturing, and a whole lot of trust. We joined in on the daily routine and learned about their natural training methods, along with some survival stories that just touched our hearts.
We have a 42-acre ranch. We have a beautiful facility here. Hello, everybody. I have gates that open. So the group that's in here, I called them in this morning so that they come in and get some hay. This is called a catch pen. You have all sorts of Mustangs in here. Mustangs come in every color. We've got a Grula, we've got a buckskin, we've got a black, and we've got a mule mixed in with this group. So those horses are from the Black Hills, Nevada, and Nevada. And then over here we have a buckskin from California, a little buckskin from Nevada, and a black mare from Nevada. Now these horses, they always love to run. My name is Diane Delano, and this is Wild Horse Rescue Center. I started working with Mustangs over 35 years ago, and I started to find that the Mustangs were having people problems. Not the people having horse problems, it was the way that people did stuff with the horses which caused a problem. So I started mentoring for about 10, 11 years. I would mentor and try to help other adoptive people in my area. And then I started taking rescues in, because then people were giving up on them and they'd call me and they didn't want the horses. So they started coming in. So I decided to become a nonprofit because I couldn't say no, and they kept coming, and I needed funding to help feed them and care for them. So in '07, we became a nonprofit, and our mission here is to first rescue, rehabilitate, and then hopefully adopt. And hopefully when we adopt out, we're gonna put them in a home forever. This is Kobe. Kobe is 27 years old. He is a Mustang from Wyoming, and he is a beautiful old gray gentleman. He was adopted, and then he came back. He had some medical issues the adopters couldn't fix. His face and his eye, he had injured his eye, and all the wet caused a giant sore on his face. And then due to the stress, he ended up with summer sores on his feet. If you look at his poor hoof even has ripples in it. It went down into the hoof area and caused wrinkles into his hoof. So he doesn't want to lift, so I'm going to break him over here in his knee area. There we go. So yeah, let's really soak everything on there, that frog and all that. That's okay, you don't have to pull that off. Just soak all that. There we go, see? Slide. Yeah, all the way down into that hoof area too. Very good. Nice. And then we'll put him back in his stall. So Oso came into us back in 2018, and he got adopted to a former owner who just adored him. Sadly, she was over on the East Coast in a very wet area, and he ended up getting really terrible feet. So he came back. We have 2 vets look at him. We also have our farrier that we work with, and our farrier was willing to give it a shot with therapeutic shoeing. And so he has 4 therapeutic shoes on. He walks great. Now, his summer sore, which Marilyn is going to take care of, was part of the stress. So when horses get highly stressed, just like us, you can break out with shingles and things like that, and you end up with sores. And this sore is on its way to healing. I know it still looks really big, but the skin is finally drying up and healing. Most people want to do well with their horses. They sometimes just get down a dead-end road and don't know how to fix it. So this is our wild horse area. If you notice, the panels are 6 feet tall. And this is for either horses that are being rehabilitated or wild or whatever. And this horse is semi-wild. This is Zuni. He's a California Mustang. So we have alleyways so that we can run horses into pens, a round pen at the end. And this is Brent. She's right here with beautiful Annabella, a little gray Mustang mare from Nevada. And she came in barely touchable, kind of worried about people. She is a lovely little mare available for adoption. This guy over here is Apache. Apache is on his 50th date with us because he never remembers who we are. And Apache is actually under saddle, and he gets his feet done, and he even can drag and pull stuff, but he always acts like he's never seen us in his life. Marilyn's going to go ahead and halter him up to show you. It's almost like a dance. Now, he might fool us today and just be good, but normally, you know, it's an approach, and he's got a, like, he always looks at you like he's, there he goes. See, so he's learning to come, but if you look at his eyes, he is like lit up. He's like unsure. So Marilyn's just taking her time. When you touch the forelock, that's actually a Linda Tellington technique, and it helps release endorphins. He is definitely a tough horse. There again, Marilyn, get by his shoulder before you start touching that foot, because by you bending underneath him, he wants to move away. Any kind of pressure, this horse wants to move away. And a lot of your Mustangs are like that. Very few come in aggressive, wanting to intentionally hurt you. Most of the time, they want to leave. They don't want to stay and hurt you. But if you make that their only option, you can bring that out in them. So that's why letting their feet move is a better thing than like tying this horse to the rail and making him take it. Had he went to somebody that didn't want to take the time, he would have easily ended up maybe being very neglected. Because a lot of times, sadly, I'm in the rescue business. When people can't enjoy touching and riding and handling their horse, the next thing is lack of feed and care. So it kind of goes hand in hand. We do all sorts of different methods to try to help break through some of these horses. So Jan is getting ready to lunge her and to drive her. I always like to think of it, it's like you just took in an infant. So this infant needs a safe spot, it needs food, it needs water, and it needs somebody that is kind and gentle and patient. But you also need, as your toddler grows, you need parameters. Okay, so you have to have what is yes and what is no. And you don't have to be a tyrant about it, but you want to be a good leader. And you need to be a leader for these horses, for them to want you to lead them. Our hope and our goal is that this horse will be totally trained one day. And in time, he has to let go a lot of that fear emotionally. We're always changing and we're always trying different ways of doing stuff. We go, okay, let's try other methods. Let's see if we can get rid of some of this emotional, and then we'll incorporate training. So it's not only these people helping horses. Okay, so people come here to help our horses. But do you want to know our horses help our people?
This is a dream come true for me. I've pretty much worked with horses my whole life, but tame horses. Wild horses, we work with individually because each have their own personality. And I have learned that slow is better because if you rush, you're going to undo what you've done before. And they kind of let you know. I think it's more rewarding for me with the wild horses because I see more of a reward. So just get one that you can touch, to get one that comes up to you, that one that turns their eyes to you and says, okay, you're not so bad. To me, that's my reward.
It's just the beauty, the sound, the grounding that you just feel when you touch one, especially one who might be working through something just like you, whether it's fear, anxiety, happiness, and to just be around them is, you can tell, emotional for me. When forever you weren't able to even touch him, to now to be able to lay an arm up on him or to have him walk to you, you know, is very rewarding. It's my favorite part, when they want to walk up to you and sniff you or touch you and say, I trust you. I trust you to touch me. They deserve the same chance. A lot of the horses have gone through trauma, and we don't know what that is a lot of the times, but they deserve to be treated with love. They haven't done anything bad. And why can't they just get someone to say, you know, I'll take the time. I'll be your buddy. I'll give you some loving.
Sometimes time is really important for them to have time. So it's taken us a long time to get him where haltering and handling and stuff is better. But he is a tough little horse. And we hope one day he'll find that right owner and he'll be out riding the trails. We've been on him. He's been rode. He doesn't ride perfect. He needs a lot of work, but he's got a good start.
If you'd like to find out more about their education programs or to donate to this nonprofit, go to the wildhorserescuecenter.org. Coming up next on Animal Outtakes, a chance to connect with more than 200 marine invertebrates. The Florida Aquarium is providing a rare opportunity to engage directly with cold water marine life. That's after the break.
What happens to your pet if something happens to you? It's a tough question, but an important one. At Dante's Den Foundation, we offer a solution. It's called Lifetime Care, a way to ensure your pet continues to live the life you've always shared. It's a chance to determine exactly what happens to your beloved friend in the event of your passing. For more on how you can provide the kind of life your pet deserves, visit us at dantesden.org.
Welcome back. Living in Florida, we are used to warmer waters and the types of marine life who reside in these waters. But now, The Florida Aquarium is offering us a chance to experience one of the only cold water touch habitats on Florida's west coast, officially called the Tide Pool.
This beautiful tide pool is really reminiscent of the Pacific Northwest. We have close to 300 animals in here. We have a beautiful 60-foot touch tank. And the mural behind me is 70 feet, and it has UV reactive paint that goes from day to night. So it's a beautiful habitat where our guests can come in and touch different animals that they've never seen before.
It is the intertidal rocky zone that you can see on the Pacific side of the US, as well as all the way down into Central America. These animals are cold water species, so it's a lot different than our shorelines in Florida where they're warm water. Here, they're in the lower 50s. We have a variety of animals that you would see in our intertidal zone, so that's just an area in which water fluctuates in and out. So there can be an exposure to a lot of water, or as the tide goes out, there's less water. And so they're animals that kind of stay in these little pools. So the animals are acting as they normally would out in the wild. Some of the species that you can find are some of our sea stars. This is our giant pink sea star, also known as our short spine sea stars. If you look at them, they're quite large. There's two right next to each other, and if you look at how big they are, they're usually about 13 inches, but they can get up to 3 feet, so they're quite large. They are carnivores and scavengers, so they'll be walking around the bottom with their tube feet, looking for opportunities to eat a lot of clams, mussels, and then anything that they find around. They're a really cool animal species because sea stars are fun, and whenever they find their prey, they use their tube feet to draw into their mouth, and then what they do is they will actually take their stomach and force it out of their body to encompass their prey items, eat it. So these are our two large short spine sea stars. We also have our other species, which are right next to them, our ochre sea stars, which are all of these different colorations of purples. They can also be like orange, brownish, and they're a keystone species in the Pacific side because they actually help control the mussel population. So just like our short spine sea stars that will then encompass their prey with their stomach and digest, the ochres do the same thing, but they are focused more on mussels. And as you can see, our habitat kind of mimics that, where we have the mussels just around the habitat. Invertebrates are an underappreciated species. So everyone loves seeing animals that are big, fluffy, move around, charismatic. But these animals, they're so important to our ecosystems. Like I said, you find them in intertidal zones. And for us in Florida, you don't get to see these species because they are cold water. And so when you go to the Pacific side, you are able to see these animals, but they are able to tolerate wide ranges of salinity swings, temperature swings, as well as like oxygen depletion. Just because of the intertidal zone, they're just so evolved and adapting to the environment that they're just a really cool species. So two species that we're going to highlight today are our white-spotted rose anemones, which are these pink ones. They're very pink, and they have these white spots along their bodies, so that's how they get their name from. They're usually about 4 to 6 inches in their body size, and then how open they are as well. They are a really cool species because we do have a painted greenling fish that will like to cohabitate near them as refuge. They are carnivores, and they will take in, as our greenling is swimming right past, they will take in clams, mussels, any food items that kind of just float on by them, and they'll use their tentacles to draw that into their mouth and consume their food. They have a really strong foot that helps secure them to whatever surface they are, so that way as the waves come crashing in and out, they maintain right where they're at, and their bodies are flexible to actually go with the waves. Then we have our green surf anemones, also known as our giant green anemones. They are a photosynthetic anemone, which are really cool. So you can see the bright, vibrant green color. They possess a zooxanthellae that is symbiotic to them. So they actually take in the algae, will make some food for them, but they are also opportunistic, and they will eat the mussels and any food that comes on by as well. These animals have adapted to their environment and show how resilient that they are because they can handle such wide swings of changes, and they've survived so long. Anemones, we don't know their true lifespan, but are proposed to live 80 years, if not longer. And so it's just like these animals have figured out how to survive in their ever-changing environment and are beautiful. Because the green surf anemones, they get brighter with the photosynthetic zooxanthellae. So they just have done so many different things and have different adaptations that other animals that people are used to don't get to see. It has been years in the making. We used to actually have a previous touch habitat called the no bone zone touch habitat that exhibited a lot of these animals that we have. However, we made so many improvements because we wanted to have an environment that mimics the wildlife that they naturally would be found in. So with this, it's 6 times the size. You get the natural surge with the wave crashing, giving the animals the natural flow that they would be experiencing. It improves their welfare. It gives them something that is more enriching because it is natural to them. We also have just the different textures, as well as the different animals we were able to put together that normally you would find out in the wild. We have different levels throughout the habitat. So we have shallower areas. When you see the intertidal zones, you'll see animals that are breaching the surface and you think that they're going to be exposed to the air. They can be. That's part of their natural habitat. And so with this habitat, we did so much research on how to facilitate an environment that would be as natural as possible and also show people an environment that they might not always be able to see as natural as possible.
We want to educate our guests about what's happening in the ocean and the marine world. Our shared purpose is to really save marine life, and education is a big part of that.
Coming up next, a milestone for many reasons. Why this dive meant so much to so many. It was an 85th birthday celebration for the books. Lillian Kenny marked a milestone birthday by completing her 1980th dive at the Florida Aquarium. As a volunteer, it was her last dive in these waters after 30 years of service. She started at the aquarium back in 1995, the very same year it opened. She's logged in an impressive 7,200 hours of volunteer time, diving to keep habitats clean for the animals. She's also supported local cleanups and guided guests on the aquarium's Wild Dolphin Cruise and Wetlands of Florida Trail. And you won't be surprised to hear Kenny was nominated for the Florida Aquarium's Volunteer of the Year Award 7 times and earned the title in May of 2003.
It's been such a big part of my life for so many years. It's one of the things that I put first on my calendar, my times at the aquarium.
Aquarium officials say her story is now a part of its history.
She's actually somebody that everybody looks up to. She has a wealth of knowledge. She used to be a teacher, so she definitely absorbs everything about animals and loves to share what she's learned.
And even though she's retired her dive suit, Kenny still volunteers at the aquarium in a different capacity. What an inspiration for us all. And we'll be right back.
Animal Outtakes is produced by Dante's Den Foundation, a nonprofit group dedicated to creating the best life for dogs. If you would like to learn more about Dante's Den, donate, or volunteer, visit our website, dantesden.org.
We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. And we'll be back here again next week with even more animals and some educational and engaging encounters. Until then, thanks for watching.
I get up at 7. I have 5 dogs in my bed. I want you to know that my dogs do not make it easy to get up in the morning because each of them, when I start stirring, suggests I stay in bed with them.